Would you please state your name, spell it, and let us know your title for A Bronx Tale?
I'm Glenn Slater, Glenn Slater, and I am the lyricist for A Bronx Tale.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you questions, and I will not appear on camera, neither will my questions, so if you can repeat back part of the question and your answer. And also, you're going to look here, not at the camera.
Okay.
So as if we're doing an interview.
Okay.
So first, tell me a little bit about A Bronx Tale. Tell us a little bit about the story.
A Bronx Tale is Chaz Palminteri's autobiographical story about growing up in the Bronx in the early 60s. It's based on an incident that really happened to him. Unlike many musicals, which are based on fiction, this is a true life story that happens to have the person it happened to as one of the authors. So it has a real emotional pull and a real truth to it that we were able to tap into as writers and make blossom on the stage.
A lot of people are familiar with the film. Eric loves the film. He's a huge fan. How is the musical different or similar, whichever you prefer, like to the film? Like, will people who love the film enjoy the musical?
Right. If you like the film A Bronx Tale, you're going to love the musical. It is the same story, the same characters, but what the music does is it adds a whole other dimension to the story. In writing the music, one of the things we tried to do was imagine if you were walking down.
That's okay. You can start. This is all edited. So.
You know, I'm like trying to do the name of the street, which has like a song that's reprised 3 times. I've written this word, God knows how many times, and now it's like, what's the name of the? It's still not coming to me. I'm getting old. There we go. It's like, holy shit. Okay.
So,
all right.
Tell me a little bit about how the musical compares to the movie and
right.
people who enjoyed the movie, why they would love it.
Right. If you like the movie A Bronx Tale, you're going to love the musical. It's the same wonderful setting, the same great characters, the same amazing story, but the music adds a whole other dimension to it. What we were trying to do as musical writers was to recreate the feeling that you might have had if you were walking down Belmont Avenue in 1960 and listening to the music coming out of car radios, wafting down from apartment windows, new music coming to you out of the deli as you turn the corner, and all of those sounds added to that story make for an experience that's almost like time travel in a way. You really feel like you yourself are back in that place.
How did you get involved in doing A Bronx Tale?
Chaz Palminteri and Alan Menken have been working together on various things for quite a while. And they came together and thought that this would make a good musical. And once they had gotten started on it, realized that they needed a lyricist to come on board and help them tell the story. So I joined them. And once I was added to the mix, it really felt like we caught fire. Chaz is a font of information. If you say to him, Chaz, I need a car, make and model of a car to use in a lyric, and you get a story, an hour-long story that could be its own musical. So all 3 of us together, Chaz with all of his information and his amazing storytelling ability, my ability to make those stories work on Alan's music, and Alan's ability to capture that era perfectly, we seemed to just gel very quickly, and the project came together very quickly after that.
What was it like to write lyrics to a show that's based on a movie as well, that's also based on the life of a real person who you're actually working with on the show?
So working on A Bronx Tale meant that we're doing a musical that's based on a movie, that's based on a one-man show, that's based on real-life events. That's a lot of layers to negotiate. But one of the great things about it is that you know that there is an emotional truth to it that is not fictional, that you're not manufacturing, that's actually really there because it really happened. And having that truth as a sort of plumb line running through the writing meant that we were able to tap into something powerful. That same story that he tells on stage by himself and recreating all of the characters, when it was translated into a movie, gained power because suddenly you could see it, you could feel it, you could get the whole sense of the vibe. Turning the movie into a musical adds yet another dimension to it. And knowing that we were going to be able to add that to it while still retaining all the emotional directness of the original iterations made it one of those experiences where you know you've got your hands on something good, you just have to make it work. And having Chaz as our sort of guiding light and spirit animal throughout the whole process makes it particularly special because you're never at a loss for details, you're never at a loss for an emotional nuance. The person who it happened to is right there in front of you, telling you the stories, adding new details, remembering things that happened that maybe he didn't remember the first time he told the story. So every time we talk through the events and the characters with him, we're getting a fuller, better, richer version, all of which we're putting into the musical.